Previously on Spider-Man.
Who dares? Face me, coward! Face a worthy foe. Spider-Man?
He's stealing Octavius's device! That was Eddie Brock. I don't want to believe that you pulled off the heist today, but I've got to make sure. Daredevil!
That leaves one question. Where's Rhino?
Cat!
Phase 1 completed. Let us begin Phase 2.
No one can control the symbiotes. No one!
And now, Spider-Man 2.
Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to another random review. Today I'm continuing my superhero type of series and we're going on to Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. Now, as I stated before in my previous review, Spider-Man 2000 is not only my favourite Spider-Man game of all time, it's also my favourite superhero game of all time. Now, not much is different between the two. There is a lot different plot-wise and level design-wise, but in terms of controls, they're all pretty much the same. Square is punch, circle is kick, triangle is web, and X is jump, and then you do the D-pad separately to that. So it's completely the same control-wise and gameplay-wise, and it did come out a year apart, although this one is developed by Vicarious Visions instead of Neversoft, and you can tell that the game was kind of rushed. So the question is, does this one hold up in comparison to Spider-Man 2000? Is my favourite superhero game of all time living on in this new game in its glory? No. That is the simple answer. No, it is not. This game is nowhere near as good as 2000, and I'm going to tell you why right now. Combat and all that is still good. Web swinging is good. The outside levels where you're swinging from building to buildings, they're pretty good. So the game does start to a strong start, but before I get into levels, let's talk about the plot, shall we? The plot starts and we see Electro. He's breaking into Oscorp or some other lab. I don't actually know if they say it's Oscorp. I know there's a level where you do break in, but I can't remember if it's Oscorp or some other kind of laboratory. But it's Spider-Man, so it's most probably Oscorp. And he steals some kind of suit. Well, not suit really. It's more like an application to his suit, which clips on in 3 different directions. And it is one of the most badass opening cutscenes I've seen from the PS1 era. Electro just walks through Oscorp, electrocuting everybody, and then he reveals himself, and he shocks Connors, and he steals the device, and then he goes like off flying around through all the conduits, and that's the opening cutscene. And then we go to Spider-Man reading a newspaper, and he's all like, "Wait a minute, I did that." And the newspaper shows that 4 was the reason behind stopping Doc Ock in the first game, which I thought was pretty cool. It's just a cool little nod to the first game. And then he goes swinging off after he hears a robbery essentially happening. Actually, wait, no, that's the next level. But basically you meet Beast and you go swinging across the rooftops, a bit of like an introductory level, like in the first one where you're on your way to the bank. It's like that. So far the game seems pretty much exactly the same, and then after that you end up at a street level. You actually go down to the streets. It's the first time you would have seen this in a 3D Spider-Man game, so going down onto the streets is pretty fun for this kind of era, because we just haven't seen it in 2000. You'd either be on top of buildings or inside. You would never be on the floor. Okay, so on the street levels you basically just got to go around killing all the thugs, and then you go up onto the rooftops where you do a load of stuff like taking out turrets and all that. And then we get to the first big boss battle, which is Shocker. This is where the problems come in. The bosses in this game just aren't as good. The bosses are very awkward, and the camera controls, which carry over from the first game, they're really awkward, where you have to turn around to see. I just don't like the bosses, because a lot of them you need to have a good camera for, but you just don't, you know what I mean? And I didn't realise at first, because I haven't played this game in a while. I used to play 2000 a lot. I never really played this one as much as a kid, and I forgot that you had a secondary lock-on button. There's the lock-on where you look around, and there's an automatic one in this game. So to beat Shocker, you have to pull boxes off the ceiling and throw them at him. I couldn't figure out for ages, right? So I was like yanking these boxes down the slow way, essentially, and it wasn't working, and then I had to Google it. But yeah, so Shocker is he's a okay boss. He's not the greatest boss. The bosses in this game, just none of them really catch my eye. I can tell you that on this playthrough, I refused to do a couple of levels. Some of the levels are just unforgiving and just awful that I just refused while streaming it. And I don't think I'm going to go back and play this game if I have access to 2000. I'm not going to lie to you. It is still a fun game. It's not a bad Spider-Man game. It's a good attempt by Vicarious Visions. And it would only lead to give us the next one in the series, which I'll get onto in a bit. But so let's get on to some of the worse levels. There's a lot of climbing levels, especially in Oscorp. You have to climb up and dodge all these electric barriers and stuff, and then it's repetitive. Essentially, this game is very, very repetitive. A lot of the game missions are just you running around doing the same thing, like deactivate switches or go up or go down or get to this place and kill this, or not even kill, but just it's just repetitive. Every level in leading up to a boss just seems like the same thing, going up to that boss. The bosses are the only redeeming quality, and even then they're not that good. The missions that stand out to me, I couldn't name you any. I can name you boss fights that I would say stand out, like the one where you'll fight, the first time you fight Sandman, and you've got to bring down the wall of sand to get to the train. That's a fun boss fight. But then the second time you fight Sandman, you're literally filling up water pipes for a solid 10 minutes or so, and then you have to line them up to hit him with it. It takes ages, especially on like a harder difficulty. It's very, very repetitive and very long. That's all I have to say about it. The final boss fight with Electro, while repetitive, is a lot more fun because you know that it is the final boss fight. It's very intense. You basically have to line up him with some electric conduits and he'll charge at you because he's supercharged by this point. I forgot to get to that. By the end of the game, he steals a diamond and supercharges his suit, and he goes like all super Electro, like we see in the Ultimate game. Is it the Ultimate game? Yeah, I think it is. And he goes all super Electro, and then you fight him and then you beat him. That's the final level. It's not as good as Monster Rock. When I'm playing Monster Rock, my hands are sweating on the controller as I'm trying to run away. On this, I'm just kind of like, I know what I'm doing, it's easy. I haven't been hit once, you know what I mean? But other boss fights that stand out, I can't really think of any. Hammerhead annoyed the crap out of me. I literally just resorted to spamming him with jump attacks over and over again because I couldn't figure out the correct way to do it. I did in the end figure out that you were supposed to yank his gun off of him and then hit him, but there'd be times where it would just do nothing and he'd just charge at me anyway and I'd die, and it's an annoying process, but that is the game. It's a repetitive game, but I will say it has some amazing cutscenes. The cutscenes, like the first game, are cool. It's got some really quote-worthy moments.
What do you have to do with this?
Times change, Spider-Man. I do what I have to.
Tomorrow night, the good doctor will be attending the Science and Industry Ball. I'm gonna get the doctor myself. But I get nowhere unless the team takes out Spider-Man.
Spider-Man!
I'm coming, Electro. Your power play ends tonight.
Tonight, Electro dances with the gods!
We also have Hammerheads introduced, the Beetle, although I'm a bit annoyed that Beetle wasn't a boss fight in this game, because the Beetle is a really interesting character, and you see him in multiple cutscenes, but he just leaves, you know what I mean? There's another really long, boring, annoying level where there's a bomb being planted, and you have to go and retrieve the keys to deactivate it. It is unnecessarily. It's just a filler level to make the game longer. You do not need it. It does not forward the plot at all. And then the level after that, which is the worst level in the game, I refuse to play it at all, it is horrible, is the Hangar 18 level, where there's a plane leaving the hangar and you've got to open all the doors and stop the plane from destroying itself, because the pilot is unconscious. No matter what I did in this level, I opened all the doors to the very end. I had like a solid 10 seconds out of the plane. I webbed up its propellers, I webbed up the end of it, I did all I could in my power, nothing happened. I couldn't stop the plane, and it would destroy itself every time, so I skipped it, but I did do the level. I cleared everything. It's just I couldn't be bothered. That's an annoying level. The lizard boss fight as well is devastating. I couldn't bring myself to finish it. Like I said, there's a lot of levels in this game. Well, there's about 3 levels in this game that I skipped. But the lizard boss level, oh my god. The lizard is brutal. He just jumps at you and he spams you with endless attacks that you can't escape. You're supposed to pick up these poisonous web shooters and they just don't do anything. Sometimes they don't even drop. But it is disappointing because if this game was really good, I reckon they would have stayed on and done, you know, another game in the PS1 era games. But the movie game, as I mentioned earlier, Spider-Man 1 would come out after this game, and we would get a game with the mechanics of Spider-Man 2000, the awesome plot of the movie, and just the funness of the original, not the sequel. It wasn't repetitive. You'd have combo attacks. They overdid combat and everything. But I don't know if I'm going to be reviewing that one next. I don't know if I want to continue with the Spider-Man reviews. I'm not going to say that I'm going to do it next, because then I have to do it next, you know what I mean? But I am definitely going to be reviewing the rest of the Spider-Man games at some point. But I am going to be continuing my superhero games, just I'm going to be delving into some other franchises as well. It's been a long time since Infinity War was out, and I haven't reviewed in a while. I did play this game a couple of weeks back, I just haven't had the time to review it, so that's why this is coming a little late. But I'm going to be focusing on Ni no Kuni 2 for a bit more now. Then I'm going to delve into some other superhero games and some other retro games as well. Maybe not just superheroes. But let's come back to that. Out of 10, what would I give Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro? I'm going to have to give it like a solid 6 out of 10. Just because I do love the feel of the game. I love how it tries to be 2000. I love the voice acting. I love the cutscenes. I love the combat. I just don't like the levels, and I don't like the boss fights. If they had put a bit more thought into levels and boss fights and everything, like I've just said, the game could easily be just as good as 2000 for me. But it's not. That's a sad thing to say, really. I heard from, I think, 7 Webheads' channel, you know, the really old Spider-Man YouTuber who kind of vanished off the face of the earth. I remember watching one of his videos, and apparently, if I remember correctly, they were planning to make a 3rd game, but they didn't because this game never came out on PC. The first game did, and because this one didn't, it didn't get as much traction. So they never made the 3rd game. But the movie game, I would like to say, is the spiritual successor to this game. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to play that next, but if I do, then you can look forward to that, and I'm going to have a lot of fun playing that. I have a lot of fun memories of the movie game. It's probably my... actually, no. I was going to say it's my favourite of the movie games, but that's not true. It's really not true at all, because my favourite of the movie games is The Amazing Spider-Man. But we'll get to that later when I can actually stream that, because I don't actually own a capture card. But yeah, thanks guys. If you want to see the action live, go to Twitch, follow me, The Fan Rift, and you can see it all live. Me playing the games, my live reaction to the games. Also, if you want to see more amazing reviews, remember to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the bell notification to get all my reviews as soon as they come out. Alright guys, thanks. See you later.
What the... Now what's this all about? Ugh, I need a new agent.
Full house, aces over kings. I win again.
I was never any good at poker.
No, so close, so close! If it weren't for Spider-Man, I'd be a god now!
Would you shut up?
No.
You know any other games? All I know is this poker.
Nah, but maybe they know a few. Hey! You guys know how to play Go Fish? Will you like that, huh?